I'm sorry, but this is the deepest shade you make. Are we in 2023? What's happening here? Hello, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. So at the end of every month, I come here and share the products I've been using and testing and that stand out to me the most, either in a good way or a bad way. Some of these worked out for me so well, I'm excited to share them with you. I've been loving them and think you will too. Others really didn't work out for me at all, and we'll talk about why. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I have a carefully curated selection of products to go through to discuss with you today. I'm excited to share with you. So let's get into my August favorites and fails. I'm starting with a new release there's been a lot of hype about. I've had it on in a few videos, and in each of those videos I've been asked what I've been wearing, and I've also just been asked my thoughts in general about this new release. There's also been a little bit of controversy about it that we'll get into. So this is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Now, the first thing that I noticed about this was the packaging. I just loved it immediately, which has nothing to do with what's inside, but I was kind of taken by it. It's got this dimensional quality to it underneath this sleek acrylic overlay and just kind of this retro feel. I love the color. I really love everything about it. So it is appealing if you're into that. Now, pre-launch, there were questions as to whether this was a cool palette or a warm palette or a true neutral palette. What was the situation? And I think she went about it kind of smart by saying it's a nude palette. She didn't claim it was cool or warm. Now, if you look at the shades, aside from this one and this one right here, which do have a little bit of warmth to it, the rest, in my opinion, are pretty neutral. And I'm going to show you some palette comparisons here in a second. I've been playing around with this since the day I bought it after launch, and on my neutral leaning warm skin, I just get very neutral looks with it. And I feel like so many palettes have been leaning warm lately. This has been a refreshing change for me. And it's nice that they're not straight up cool grays either, because sometimes on my skin tone that can be a little bit harsh. What I like about having these two shades in here is that I can use them in my crease to kind of soften or warm up rather a neutral or cool look and change it up a little bit. Now, before I get into the shades and the comparisons, let's talk about the performance. If you are familiar with Natasha Denona eyeshadows, if you like Natasha Denona performance the way I do, I think you'll be absolutely happy with this palette. There's nothing unusual or out of the norm with I Need a Nude. It is fantastic Natasha Denona quality. Now, really quickly, if you're not as familiar with her eyeshadows, or if you've used them and thought, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, her shimmers are so unique and so easy to apply and beautiful that I find applying them over eyeshadow primer directly just adds to that multi-dimensional look that her sheens, whether they're metallic or pearlescent, I press them in with a finger and do not blend them out except at the very edges, and they last really nicely. I do like applying her eyeshadow before I put on foundation. That just usually works best with most metallics and shimmers that have any kind of dimension to them the way hers do. Today, for example, after applying my eyeshadow primer, I applied Filigree to the outer third of my eye, Delilah to the middle of my lid, and then this pale pink Mia to the inner third. Then I set my eyeshadow primer above my crease, which also blended out the very outer edge of those shadows without messing up what I had just applied. And then I swept mesh along the lower lash line and in my crease in transition, and then I lined with Silhouette. So when you compare this palette to Natasha Denona Glam, which is another palette that I love using, it does have more warmth to it, and it's a more subtle palette, I guess. It's less glam, less dark and dramatic. You really only have a couple of somewhat deep shades, but you can still get a really pretty, shimmery, dramatic look with it, or a more everyday palette. So if you're someone who's more into the everyday, this might be the way to go. Now, because it's a little bit warmer than Glam, you might be thinking it's more of a warm palette. Now, just to take a quick comparison of those pinky shades with Retro here, I feel like they look a little less pink and a little more terracotta peach when I look at them next to Retro. I think turning these to the side is going to be key. So we have Biba here and I Need a Nude, which looks so small in comparison. Not only that, it looks way cooler, more neutral, whereas Biba, aside from that one cool gray row, looks really, really warm. I do really like this. I've enjoyed it. I will be reaching for it. So those are my thoughts. It's probably longer than what you wanted to hear, but I've seen a lot of dedicated videos for this, and I really just wanted to put my somewhat concise thoughts into this video because I didn't think you needed yet another dedicated video showing up in your feeds for this palette. So I hope that you found that helpful. If you have any more questions about this, just let me know. In a nutshell, I really like it. I really enjoy it. I think it's a beautiful neutral palette that you can get some everyday looks from, some one and done looks from, or some really beautiful nighttime looks. It's really versatile. And as always, I'll have everything I'm talking about today, this and everything else, linked in my description box and my top pinned comment for you, as I always do. This will probably come as a surprise to you if you've been a subscriber of mine for a while. I recently rediscovered the Tarte Colored Clay CC Under Eye Corrector. The shade that I have is light medium. It comes in this sleek, reflective packaging with a mirror inside. Now, if you're new to me, if you're wondering why I'm saying this might come as a surprise, is because I have raved and raved and raved about the Bobbi Brown stick corrector in the shade Bisque. It is my holy grail. There are some others that I enjoy, but that is my go-to. I've repurchased since it launched, I want to say a little over a year ago maybe. The only reason why I stopped using this is because they stopped making it for a while. You couldn't find it, and so I was kind of forced to try other under eye correctors, and this was a couple of years ago, and there weren't as many options to choose from. Now I feel like there are tons. I did see that this had relaunched a while back, but you know, I had the Bobbi Brown. I was happy. I just didn't really look at it. On a whim, last month, I decided to grab it and try it. I'm not sure if they reformulated it or not. If they did, I can't tell because it is just as creamy to me as it was before. So if you're a Tarte fan, or if you prefer to have a corrector in this format, this is a really great option. It's creamy, it's light, it layers well with concealers you put on top of it. So if you prefer stick, I still recommend that Bobbi Brown stick concealer, but if you prefer pot or pan formulations, this is a really good one. I'm glad I rediscovered it and that they did relaunch it. I thought it was flat out discontinued because it was gone for so long, and I'm glad to have it in my life again. This is the Double Time Full Cover Smoothing Long Wearing Concealer from Kosi that launched in July, and the shade that I'm holding is the deepest shade that they offer. It really took me off guard. It actually took me a little bit to figure this out. I received a PR package from them a couple weeks ago that contained 6 shades, and what I thought it was a sampling of shades that might suit my skin tone. You can see they're all, you know, pretty light, and if a brand doesn't contact us prior to sending PR, sometimes they'll send a selection of shades that they think might be appropriate for us instead of sending us every single shade that they make because it's less wasteful. And I thought that's what was happening here. And so I saw the insert and saw that there were 12 shades, and I started placing each shade near the shade indicated on the insert. And that's when I started looking at the labels on the bottom, and when I realized this one was shade Deep and the deepest shade offered, I thought, well, maybe this is only half the range. Maybe there's more, and there's a different insert for different PR packages. So I went to their website, and that is all they offer. This is the 12 shades. Deep, which is right here, is the deepest shade. So I swatched this on my hand prior to filming. We have it wet here, which I just did, and it's dried down, so it does oxidize. I'm sorry, but this is the deepest shade you make. Are we in 2023? What's happening here? I have medium skin tone on my arms, but I also swatched this on my very, very tan daughter's leg to show you just how light this is. Now keep in mind, it's the wet swatch you're seeing here, which actually shows exactly how tan she is. That's how light it was on her. I'm surprised I haven't heard more people talking about this. I've tried Kosi products that I have loved before, but I'm shocked that any brand would release something with such a limited shade selection. I don't know if anyone's gonna try this. I mean, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. But this seems crazy to me, and it was just a big disappointment without even trying it. Moving on to a much better topic with Huda Beauty Pinky Brown Lip Liner. So I really fell in love with the Huda Beauty lip liner formula with Honey Beige. I think it was within the past year. I was really late to the game with these. I'm pretty picky with my lip liner formulas. I like them to glide on and kind of fill in those vertical lip lines and have a creamy feel to them while they help your lip products wear longer during the day. I just don't like a stiff or dry lip liner, and a lot of stay put lip liners can be kind of drying. This is not. It's very creamy. It glides on. There's some opacity to it, but the longevity is there. And this shade is a great one for my natural lip shade. I feel like I have several of those going. I'll put a comparison here of some that I'm really liking for that just kind of pinky brown neutral effect if I want to apply them lightly and just put something kind of sheer over them or wear them alone. This is a really good one. Plus, Huda Beauty lip liners have a little sharpener in the end, which is always a plus, especially with a twist up formula. It looks like it's a pencil, but it's a twist up that you can sharpen, and I really do like that. So now I have two really nice shades from Huda that I like. If you have other ones I need to check out, let me know down below. But if you haven't checked out Pinky Brown, this is a good one. What's been on my lips throughout this video is what I'm going to talk about next. I have not reapplied it. As I've been talking, I wanted you to see it organically as it wore, as I've been talking for well over an hour now. Yes, you're not seeing the hour plus that I've been talking. You're seeing it edited down, but there's been a lot of talking, a lot of sips of water, and you're seeing the remnants of that. I'm also going to reapply it here in a minute so you'll see what it looks like fresh. This is the new Milk Makeup Odyssey Lip Oil Gloss. This has oils and extracts to hydrate and nourish, and it also has crushed sapphires and ruby gemstones to calm and soothe. I don't think I've ever seen that in a lip product before. They also contain vitamin C and E, so they're supposed to give you pigment and a lot of shine and benefits in just one swipe. Oh, and they do have a really lovely vanilla scent. I do love the scent of these. There's no chemical smell to them at all. The shade I'm applying is Work Trip. They describe it as a dusty rose. I would describe it as a light, milky, pink neutral beige. I like the shape of the applicator. There's a little bit of a curve to it, so it really conforms to your lips nicely. Now, if you're someone that likes a lot of pigment to your lips, oils, glosses, balms, this is not what I get from this, at least not in this particular shade. It's pretty translucent with just a tint to it. I don't mind that. It's not sticky. I do get a nice lip oil gloss hybrid feel from it, which is really nice. And it's not runny either. It doesn't last very long though. I think, you know, as I've been talking throughout this video, you could kind of see that it was wearing away even though that shine kind of stuck around. So while this is a nice product and I enjoy it, I feel like because that pigment wears away so quickly for me, it just kind of falls somewhere in the middle. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but there are other lip balms, lip oils, even, you know, stick hybrid products that I would probably reach for a little bit more than this. But I wanted to include it in this video because it is a new product that I know some of you have been curious about. I have a lot of Milk Makeup favorites, and for me, this just kind of falls in the middle. It's not really at the top for me. Speaking of Huda Beauty, I was actually going to review this last month, but I couldn't get my thoughts together. I couldn't wrap my brain around what I wanted to say. So Huda Beauty Balm Brows Micro Shade Brow Pencil. This has been out for a while. I've heard people rave about this, and with as much as I love a good micro brow pencil, you would have thought I would have been all over trying this, but you know, I have my favorites and I really just didn't feel the need to deviate, but I finally broke down and decided to try it. And I'm really glad because this actually has ingredients in here that can help with brow growth. I don't think they claim that, but it has castor oil and vitamin E and coconut oil. It's also supposed to be waterproof and smudge proof, and I truly wasn't prepared for how micro this actually is. The micro brow pencils that I typically like aren't really pencil tip shaped. They're shaped like little mini dashes, which is what helps them make such precise hair-like brow strokes so quickly. Now this is a micro tip. It is so tiny and precise that this makes the brow pencils that I was using before look big in comparison. This gives the most precise brow strokes. This is basically the next best thing to a brow pen at creating hair-like brow strokes. And then next in line comes the Dash micro pencils that I was using. Now there are a few things that I need to note about this because I wasn't quite sure about it at first. If I try to use this on bare skin, it has to be completely dry. My moisturizer, my sunscreen, whatever I have on my face has to be completely soaked in, or the pigment won't deposit the way it's supposed to. So when I first started using it, I just thought it was too waxy, but really that was what was going on. I prefer to use this after I apply foundation or foundation and powder. I also have to be very careful how far I twist this up because it's so fine, it can snap off very, very easily. I am sorry that I waited so long to try this because this is really, really nice. Now this isn't what I reach for when I need to do my brows really, really quickly. I have other products for that I've talked about here on my channel plenty of times, but this is my alternative to a brow pen for days when I really want to mimic brow hairs, but I don't have quite enough time, or I don't want to spend as much time as I would with a brow pen. This is really nice. I don't think this is user error, but I don't know why I cannot get products like this to work for me. This is probably the most luck I've had, but it's still a fail. This is the Ciate Microblade Brow. So this has a marker tip with 3 little bristles, kind of like comb things, so that when you drag it sideways along your brows, it gives you a microblade effect very quickly. And for those of us with sparse brows and even brows, this can really be great, especially at the front of the brow, to even things out. I always start out great. I can get about 2 strokes and then the pigment just stops coming out and I have to tap it off and start over. And the process always takes so long. I think Maybelline or somebody had a pen like this, but the little bristles were fatter. This one is spaced really nicely. I feel like if the pigment would keep coming out, I would get a great result from this. I don't know if it's because the ink meshes with my oils in my skin and it just stops coming out. I mean, I'm not that oily on my brows. I tried to swatch it on the back of my hand just now to show you the effect, and I couldn't even do it there. So this isn't really against this particular one, I guess. It's just this type of product just does not work for me. I'd love to know if any of you have tried these and have had success, if the pigment keeps working for you, if you don't have to keep tapping it and going back in, but I want it to work. It just doesn't. It should come as no surprise to you that I have blushes in this video because I love blush. It's one of my favorite things, and it has been long before this blush trend thing started going on. So the first is a formula that has been popular for a while since it launched, but it's a somewhat new shade release. This is the Tower 28 Beach Please blush in the shade Dream Hour. It's one of those super flattering bubblegum pink shades that apply like a dream and wears beautifully. That's one of the reasons why this formula is so popular. It doesn't remain sticky or tacky. It kind of melts into your skin, and this shade is a really great addition to the line. I love a good bubblegum pink because it can be really flattering. I have a few favorites in stick and powder form, but I don't think I have one that's in a pan like this. So I mean, why not? Or a pot? What are we calling this with a lid? A compact form. I really like this one, and I've been reaching for it since I got it almost every day when I haven't been testing something out. Now the powder blush that I've been reaching for a lot this month has been from Laura Geller, which is a brand I haven't really delved into probably enough. I am retrying the infamous powder foundation that everybody seems to love, so stay tuned for my thoughts, my perspective on that. But this is the Baked Blush and Brighten in the shade Tropic Hues. It's what's on my face today, which I'm hoping you can see the sheen that doesn't have a glitter, which I love. I love a good lit from within glow, kind of a blush and a highlighter in one when it looks nice and natural. Now you're also getting some overall sheen on my face from the heat that's in this room right now, but this is from the blush. It's just such a pretty shade that applies well, it wears well, and it's just flattering on anyone of any age and any skin type. You can't go wrong with that. So there's the Laura Geller blush. I mean, that swatch was beautiful. Let me swatch the Tower 28 too. while we're here. So there we go. We've got those two beautiful pink blushes, but different pinks that I've been loving. And I know a lot of you love Laura Geller. I'd love to hear more of your favorites in the comments down below. I get asked about hair products, what I do for my hair, quite frequently in my comments section. I just shared one of my favorite hair tools in another video, and I need to do a top hair products video update here soon. But I wanted to give you kind of an update with Zuvi Halo since I shared it a couple months ago, because I saw they're running a promo right now as of me filming this, and my codes are still good. One of those codes gives you 5% off on top of any promo that they're running on their website, and the other one gives you 12% off any full price Zuvi Halo if there's no promo running. And this is something that I reach for quite often. So I feel like upon first glance, there's the misperception that this is a Dyson dupe because of the way it's designed. It's very much not. It functions completely differently. Zuvi Halo uses infrared light instead of heat to be more gentle on your hair. It's supposed to mimic the sun and wind drying your hair versus a traditional hair dryer. So instead of over drying the entire hair follicle, it dries the water on the surface of the hair so that your hair retains its internal moisture, which in turn results in less frizz, less damage, and in softer, shinier, more hydrated hair. And I did notice that the first couple weeks I started using it, which if you saw that other video, you probably already know. I do not have the hair type that I can just let it air dry and go. I have to style my hair, heat style my hair in some way. I have uneven waves and frizz. It just kind of wants to do its own thing. It's not smooth and shiny on its own is basically what I'm trying to say. But there are times where I'm not going anywhere and I do want to just let my hair air dry. I also hate sitting around with wet hair. Previously, if I was doing that, I would tousle dry my hair with my Dyson. Now I have an option that I can do that and help my hair stay healthy in that process, which I love. Or I can use one of the attachments. There's a nozzle and a diffuser if I want to go wavy. There's also a gentle attachment. I don't really use that one. Sometimes I use no attachment at all. As someone who heat styles my hair frequently, I've loved having Zuvi Halo as an option in my hair tool arsenal. I have a lot of hair tools. I test a lot of them. It wasn't actually one that I was thinking I was going to end up liking, but I have liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I use it frequently because, as you've heard many times here on my channel, I'm all about maintaining my hair health, and I feel like this is another tool that helps me do that. So if you are wanting to check it out, I do have codes for you where you can save extra money if you've been eyeing this up, because I know some of you have been curious and have had questions. But yeah, this is something that I reach for several times a week. I don't know what it is with me and organizational products and totes and bags and pouches, but show me a good one and I'm all about it. Now, I have come across a lot of different types of brush pouches and organizers, but I've never seen one quite like this. This is new from BK Beauty, and I'm hoping it's in stock when I'm sharing this, because I love it. When it first arrived, it was packed a certain way and I couldn't quite tell what was happening. Let me show you. So we have it fully expanded right now, and obviously you can unzip it, and inside we have our brushes, and all you do is slide this down, and once it's pushed all the way down, you have a brush holder that you can set on your vanity or your desk and work from it. It's so thoughtful and practical. Once you're finished, you just pull the top back up and zip it right back up and you're good to go. You can pack it or carry it wherever you want. I would love to see this in a blush color too. I like the texture difference that Lisa included here, just from the bottom to the top, just that little bit of detail. There's the back if you want to see the back. This is really unique. I personally have not seen another brush holder like this. There's also padding around it to protect your brushes, your pencils, whatever you put in here, and it is roomy enough for a lot of brushes, pencils, products, mascaras, whatever you want to put inside. I've already been using this to transport brushes from my vanity downstairs and up and back and forth, and I will be traveling with it. This is another great launch from Lisa J. And by the way, if you did not know, I do always have a 10% off BK Beauty code in my description box. It lives there, and it will also be in my top pinned comment if you're interested in this or any of her brushes or products. How pretty are these new Dean Davidson pieces that I've been wearing throughout the video? I love a really pretty, brilliant green. So beautiful. I was enamored with this collection. There are more pieces, but this is just, what I'm wearing in this video, what I picked out. And this cuff bracelet that you could wear dressed up or dressed down. I mean, you could say the same thing for every one of these. This necklace, which you may not be able to see that well. I feel like my camera's kind of blurring it. I'll do a close-up of it here so you can see it a little bit closer. This is one of my new staple daily wear necklace favorites. It's so easy to pair with anything. You can mix and match this collection, these pieces, with whatever you want. And speaking of codes from earlier, I have a Dean Davidson code that lives in my description box and my top pinned comment. For new customers, your first purchase, you can get 15% off at Dean Davidson. And I think they're running some kind of sale right now. I'm not sure if these pieces are included, but they're a brand that I have a ton from because the quality is good. And overall, as a brand, their pieces, their collections are classic, but with a twist, which is what I love and why I wear them so much in my daily life. What are your thoughts on the products I shared today? Do you agree with me? Do you not? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know something that you absolutely loved or hated in August. I love reading your comments in my monthly favorites videos. Thank you so much, as always, for watching these favorites videos every month. It means so much to me. I love putting them together for you and sharing what worked and didn't work for me. And I want to give a special thank you to the members of my Stephanie Marie Circle for your extra support, for going above and beyond. It really means so much to me. And as always, a huge extra thank you to my premium members who go above and beyond that to support me, to support my channel. Your support just means so much to me. Thank you so, so much. If you're not subscribed, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and be with me here, be with us here on a regular basis. And if you love a good dupe, check this video out. There are some great products in there. I'll see you next time. Bye.